If you're looking for a particular parent or origin of a resolve, at the moment, because you can't left click on the resolve to find out its parent, the only way you can do this is using a feature in the Tools tab. If we click on Tools, we have the Linear Breakline Editor. This is forming two functions. This is not only allowing us to filter and see different parts of our design in different states, but also in editor as well. So what I'd like to do is see where any resolves are being applied on my design. So in this case, I'd pick string name, road 1. The filter is going to be true, and I'd like to see, does it resolve to surface? So basically, does it resolve to surface, yes or no? True is yes. So I'm now seeing any resolves that have been applied on my design. And if I left click on each of these columns, you'll see I'm actually zoomed, and if I move this out of the way, to that particular spot on my design where there is a resolve being applied. If I decide that that resolve shouldn't be applied, I've got a couple of ways I can manage it. Either I can turn off the resolve using the little palette on the left, or I can go in and override using the override down here. So for example, if I didn't want that resolve being applied on the back of the curb subgrade, I could go false, resolves to surface, and then click apply. Now by doing that, what I've done is I've gone and told it that there's no resolve being applied to that, and now that's no longer appearing in this particular list. The one that we created earlier is this one here, the REs. So I'm now able to go in and see that resolve. Also, because it's being selected, I can go in and manage it over on the form, or as we saw earlier, using the overrides at the bottom. Let's click on close, and let's go and apply the resolve back onto the curb subgrade. So I'm just going to use my control here to pan, left click on my linear break line, resolve to surface to total model, and click apply. Let's have another look at the cross-section window. So I'm going to left click on the sectional break line, right click near it, display cross section. You can actually see how my user break line has been applied there, and the resolve going in as well. So that covers a couple of things. First of all, that's covering how the resolve works, and also covering very briefly how the Linear Breakline Editor can also assist with your design. Now we have the control on the user break line to be able to say what chainage range it should be applied. However, we do not have that control with the surface resolve, and the way that this can be managed initially is that you have a user break line specifically created for a resolve. However, there is an additional feature which will allow you to manage where your resolve happens along your string. You can do this by left clicking on a sectional break line and using create split. And this will allow you to define a different set of circumstances for the resolves and user break lines past the split location. When we click on create split, we say apply to section, which means that we want it to occur at this particular spot. And you'll see there that when we've done that, the user break line and the resolve are now being removed. So if I now wanted to have a different resolve further up this particular road, I can left click on the linear break line here. I can then choose to add a user break line, which you can see is currently empty. If you want to remove a user break line, all you do is left click on the row and hit the delete key. Then I could apply resolve onto that user break line, but the split option gives me that option to be able to remove certain parts of the design. If you want to remove the split entirely, you can left click on the section break line and uncheck create split, apply to section. You can see there that resolve and user break line are now being applied all the way through.